As I've traveled around the church, I think as we've traveled around the church, we've had an opportunity to see the church living in the midst of liminal spaces, of the transformation from what the church had been into what the church is being called to become. And I've seen the church responding to that challenge in some remarkable and creative ways. I can think about a congregation or a presbytery that has just ordained a new teaching elder to a ministry of essentially being like an old circuit ride pastor, going from congregation to congregation each week to preach the word and to administer the sacraments and to moderate session meetings and to help those small churches in the Ohio Valley Presbytery have the leadership of a teaching elder. Have also seen new worshiping communities in the way that they are bringing new vitality to presbyteries through the creative ways that they are engaging in ministry, from the Okra Abbey community in New Orleans to the joint campus ministry and the cafe that they operate between Loyola and Tulane universities. A Pay What You Can cafe for students and a ministry that provides prepared lunch for a gathering of up to 150 students week in and week out, students who might not otherwise be able to have lunch that day. So I know that we're living in challenging times for the church, but I see the church in many ways responding to those challenges with great creativity and faithfulness.
I see our congregation thriving in the liminal space where we are now, much like the Sankofa bird, being certain about going forward while remembering the pearl that's on our back. I was most recently with Lackawanna Presbytery and Lehigh Presbytery, in that they decided to merge and become one. And it allows them to use the resources that God has given both of them to do the great work that all of us have been called to do. And I see that as growth in our church and living well in the liminal space. Part of the growth in our church is going to be based on all of us being willing to train our replacements. If we are excited about what God is doing in our lives currently, then it becomes our responsibility to teach those who come behind us while remembering what was taught to us from those who had gone before us. And that is a gift of the church, because we're always in transition. I think we're always reformed and reforming always. We know how that statement goes, but we're living it by training those who will come behind us and living out the legacy that was left for those who had gone before us.
My hope is that as we emerge from the liminal space, that wilderness experience of not being who we were, but becoming who we're called to be, that one of the gifts that we will bring into that new space is theological clarity about who we are. And I think one of the gifts that the church has been given is the challenge to take up the call to be Matthew 25, congregations and presbyteries, to take the risk of understanding that Jesus has said if we want to find him, we'll find him with the least of these. And so as the church engages that work of dismantling structural poverty and systemic racism, that as we unburden ourselves of our resources and engage them in those causes, that will bring new vitality back into our congregations, and will claim that theological belief that as we empty ourselves, as Christ emptied himself, that we will find in that emptying, in that service, new life, resurrection power on behalf of the gospel, to build strong communities of faith and stronger neighborhoods as we engage the least of these, however we understand that in our particular context.